This is bus case study number 1, John, and this is Baldoyle Group 2022. Before setting off on his day's work, John quickly checked the lights, tyres, including tyre pressures and wipers, and his emergency engine stop. Is that a good walk around?
No.
It's not even close, is it? Not even close. So at his first stop, he recognised a passenger boarding the bus whom he suspected might be hearing impaired. It's not necessarily deaf, but obviously some sort of issues with his hearing. The previous day, the customer. The previous day, she had asked how much the fare would be. John answered £4.10. While looking at someone at the back of the bus, the passenger then handed him €10 and took a seat without asking for change. At the time, John wondered if she had heard him. This time when he asked for the fare, he looked her in the eye and said £4.10. She smiled and gave him exactly £4.10. So when you're talking to someone with a hearing impairment, you need to keep good eye contact and face them so they can maybe read your lips, yeah? Okay. As John pulled into the next stop, he noticed a passenger in a wheelchair and a woman with children. Okay.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. He pulled the bus close to the curb. Hang on, we'll start again. Who's that? Just let in for power. Okay, Pascal, I'll talk to you at break time, okay?
Okay.
We'll start again. Okay. Bus case study number 1, John, Baldoyle Group 2022. Before setting off on his day's work, John quickly checked the lights, tyres, including tyre pressures, wipers, and his emergency engine stop. At his first stop, he recognised a passenger boarding the bus whom he suspected might be hearing impaired. So some sort of issue with their hearing. The previous day, she, the customer, had asked how much the fare would be. John answered €4.10. While looking at someone at the back of the bus, the passenger then handed him so he said it while looking at a passenger at the back of the bus. So the passenger then handed him €10 and took a seat without asking for change. At the time, John wondered if she had heard him, but John didn't give her a change back anyway. This time when he asked her the fare, he looked her in the eye and said £4.10. She smiled and gave him exactly £4.10. So good eye contact, speak clearly, and look at the customer when you're talking. It's just best policy to look at the customer or the person you're talking to anyway, isn't it? That's good customer service, not looking at the back of the bus when you're talking to someone. As John pulled into the next stop, he noticed a passenger in a wheelchair. How do you refer to a person in a wheelchair?
Mobility impaired.
Possibly, that's not a bad one, yeah? Or how else would you refer to a person in a wheelchair?
Vertically challenged.
No, that's you, John. That's about your height. How do you refer to someone in a wheelchair?
Another able person.
A what?
Paraplegic.
Paraplegic is a very specific kind of disability.
Disabled.
Yes,
No,
we're
not
moving away. This is the point I'm getting to. We're moving away from disabled, okay? It's like if I went to use a bathroom and my cousin who's a paramedic said I said I was going to use the disabled bathroom because it was at a wedding and the other one was 40. And he said, how can you use a bathroom that's disabled? And I went, remember back in the day we used to say like...
handicapped.
Yeah,
Like
handicapped
disabled.
used to be an acceptable word, but now it's highly offensive.
Like disabled.
And people with Down syndrome who have similar facial features to Mongol people were called Mongols, which is highly offensive now. And now disabled is offensive, and we're trying to move away from it. It's like you see who knows what the Paralympics are? Paralympics?
Special Olympics.
It's not Special Olympics. Special Olympics are people with learning difficulties.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
These people don't have learning difficulties. They have like one leg. They're coming down a snowy hill, doing a giant slalom on one leg, not even two legs, at like 60 miles an hour. And you call them disabled. Have you seen the power lifters with like one leg, one knee, and the weight they're lifting? And people refer to them as disabled.
They call them as well, not disabled. They call them another able or something like that word.
Yeah. Anyway, my point is, handicapped is no longer acceptable. Mongol is certainly not acceptable, and now disabled is not acceptable. So we have to refer to them as differently abled. And people in wheelchairs.
It'll be changed again.
Sorry?
And by the time we get our license, they'll have changed it again.
Probably. Probably, but what can you do? That's things change all the
Sorry,
time.
so what is it
And
then?
someone in a
Disabled.
wheelchair, people used to say wheelchair bound, but they're not tied to the wheelchair. People in a wheelchair, they come round to your house and then they'll hop out the wheelchair and sit in your couch, won't they? Or they go to the bathroom, or they get out to go into bed. They're not bound. They're not tied into a wheelchair. So things like disabled and handicapped and retarded and wheelchair bound, they're no longer acceptable. They're offensive to a lot of people. So if you see someone in a wheelchair, you can refer to them as differently abled, which isn't great, or you'd say a wheelchair user. Okay? Just a little side note there. As John pulled into the next stop, he noticed a passenger in a wheelchair and a woman with children. He pulled the bus close to the curb, stopped, switched off the engine. Why would you switch off the engine? I can never understand this line. And left the bus in first gear for safety. Why would you stop and switch off the engine to pick up a passenger? Anyway, he lowered the bus using the kneeling facility and lowered the ramp. Would you need training for that?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course you would need training for everything. Does everyone know what a kneeling bus is?
Yeah.
Okay, it's just where it works on hydraulics and it lowers down so the step's not so high. The women and children boarded the bus and sat in the priority seating. Is that okay?
No.
Yes, no?
No.
Why not?
They should be left for the elderly.
Well, it really depends on the priority seating, isn't it? Some is for mothers with shopping and children, some is for people with different abilities, and some is for the elderly. So it depends on the priority seating, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
John helped the passenger in the wheelchair to the docking area. What's the docking area?
Where's
Where the wheelchair goes.
Exactly, yeah. Where some passengers were already standing. He then lifted one wheel over some debris left by the passengers and applied the wheel brake. And then he drove off smoothly. Is that okay?
No, I said picked up the debris.
Absolutely. And what else isn't okay?
You're lifting.
debris.
And applied the wheelchair brake. He drove off smoothly. Would it be okay if we was in a pub or a bus and I just leant over and put the seatbelt on you, Dara?
No, you have
Would you consider that okay? I just lean across, get the seatbelt and lock you in because I decide that's what's best for you.
No.
No. So how dare you just walk up to someone and put their brake on their chair?
All right, calm down. I'm only trying to help.
But no. You see what you said there, Dara. I know you're taking the mick. But that's exactly right. It might come from a good place and good intentions, but you can't just lean across another adult and say that's you moved. It's rude, it's patronising, and you're invading their privacy, aren't you? But a lot of people think that's okay because they're doing it for the right reasons. There's a sketch in, The Office with Ricky Gervais.
Yeah.
And they're at a pub. And then there's a person in the wheelchair. Have you seen it? He just walks up and he just pulls away from the table and brings his stool in and sits down. It's funny because it's so wrong. Do you ever see that sketch? No, it's just so embarrassing. He just goes up to the chair, gets the person in the wheelchair and pulls her back a couple of feet and puts his stool in the place. And it's, but that's exactly the kind of sort of respect I'm referring to. The next stop was at a supermarket, which John knew would have more passengers than any of his other stops. The bus was nearly 3/4 full with 35 passengers. 3/4 full with 35. So that's 35. That's about 50 passengers full, wasn't it? John quickly calculated how many more passengers with heavy packages he could take. When he arrived at the supermarket, he was relieved to find fewer passengers than he had anticipated. How do you calculate GVW?
15 people is a ton, and the GVW is on the plate.
But what is the formula for GVW?
15 people equals 1 ton.
No. 15 people.
15 vehicle load and fuel.
The RSA think 15 people is a ton. Yes, we accept that, but there's nothing to do with GVW. What's the formula for GVW? Anybody?
Vehicle load, fuel.
Exactly correct.
Yeah.
The vehicle, the fuel, and anything you bring onto the vehicle is the load. That's you, your sandwiches, your passengers, your bags. Vehicle, fuel, and load. However, the bus was near capacity, a fact proven by the effort needed to move off. What does that mean?
It means it was slow moving.
Yeah, it was heavier, so it took more effort to move off. John pulled away, shifting gears quickly to keep the revs in the green band on the rev counter. However, he approached the right-hand corner too quickly and passengers were thrown about in their seats. The bus had seatbelts fitted, but not all the passengers wore them. The bus was not designed to carry standing passengers. John now realised that he had not taken a break all day. Not designed to carry standing passengers. What did it say earlier about the wheelchair?
We're standing. People standing.
Yeah, people were standing in that
for it.
docking area, weren't they?
Yeah.
Number one, they're not meant to be standing in that docking area. Number two, it just said there that it's not designed to take standing passengers. Before the next stage of the route, there was a steep descent. Descent.
Down. Downhill.
D for down. Ahead, roadworks had been going on below the hill for about a month. As the bus was descending the hill, John took his foot off the accelerator and braked gently. Okay. He drove along the dual carriageway. Maximum speed for a bus on a dual carriageway?
100.
100 kilometers.
Built to motorway standards at 120 kilometers per hour. So that's not good, is it?
Nope.
No.
Also, all the buses are restricted to 100, aren't they?
Mm.
Have you ever been in a bus that could do 120? I haven't. And was stopped by Garda, who asked to see John's documents and retarder, I'm guessing. The Garda also asked for John's tachograph records. How many records should he have if it's analogue?
28 and a day.
28 day plus the day you're working. After inspection of the bus, the Garda told John that his front near side tyre was defective. This delayed John and his passenger, forced him to wait at the roadside to have his tyre replaced. Okay. During the conversation, the Garda also asked, did you check the bus before using it today? John admitted that he had not completed a daily walk-around check. He was in a hurry and forgot. So there's probably a £2,000 fine, yeah?
Yeah.
Second, you admit to not doing your walk-around, that's a £2,000 fine. What's the minimum amount of time for doing your walk-around?
10 to 15 minutes.
10 to 15 is the RSA recommended time. What's the legal amount of time you need to take?
No legal.
Exactly, there's no
No
set
limit.
legal time. So if you say you've done it in 5
legal
minutes,
time.
obviously it's not good, but it's a valid argument. If I set mine to other work, my tachograph, and the Garda said, did you do your walk around in 5 minutes? I'd say yes. And I do not believe it would take me to court because there is no legal set time. Yeah. But the second you say you didn't do your walk around, bang, you are fined. The Garda then called a vehicle inspector who found more items that John would have found if he had conducted his walk around check. The vehicle inspector also asked, how often do you need to do a vehicle walk around check?
Every day.
Every day.
How many times a
Before
day?
every shift.
In the morning.
I
In the
think
morning.
any time I got into a new vehicle, I would do a walk around, like I said, to protect myself. There's no legal requirement to do a walk around more than once in any one 24-hour period. Okay. The Garda then the Garda then called a vehicle inspector who found more items that John would have found if he had conducted his walk around check. The vehicle inspector also asked about the vehicle, the maintenance records, and fault reporting procedure. What is that?
That's the,
What do you do every day when you do the walk around?
The walk around book, isn't it?
Yes, the nil defect book. John's company. The bus was detained until the defects had been fixed. This was embarrassing and expensive for John and the company. John will now be prosecuted for negligence. Most people who watch these videos like and subscribe. I'd like to say thank you.